There are stories that people tell just to scare children. And then there are stories that refuse to die. Stories whispered between friends. Stories passed down through generations. Stories that people swear actually happened. Japan is home to some of the world's most chilling urban legends. But one legend stands above the rest, not because it's the oldest, not because it's the bloodiest, but because even today, people claim they've seen her. A woman, long black hair, a white surgical mask, standing alone on a quiet street after dark. She waits patiently for someone to walk by. Then she asks a simple question: Am I beautiful? Most people think they know the right answer, but according to the legend, there isn't one. Tonight, I'm going to tell you one of Japan's most terrifying folklore stories, not as a documentary, but as if you were the one walking those empty streets. So turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and imagine you're completely alone, because once you hear her voice, you may never forget it. This is the legend of Kuchisake-Onna, the Slit Mouth Woman. Have you ever walked home so many times that you stopped paying attention to the road? That's exactly what happened to me. It was late October, the air was cold, and the streets were almost empty. I had stayed too long at the library trying to finish a project before the weekend. The last train had already left, so I decided to walk home. It should have taken 20 minutes. Instead, I experienced something I still can't explain. If you're watching this, I need you to promise me one thing. If you ever find yourself walking alone at night in Japan, and a woman wearing a surgical mask asks you a simple question, don't answer too quickly, because your answer may decide whether you ever make it home.
The walk.
The streets were strangely quiet, not the peaceful kind of quiet, the kind where it feels as if the entire city is holding its breath. The wind carried dry leaves across the sidewalk. Street lights flickered one by one. Even the convenience stores that were usually crowded seemed empty. I checked my phone. No signal. That didn't make sense. I lived in the middle of the city. I laughed to myself. You're just tired. I put my phone back into my pocket and kept walking. That's when I heard footsteps. Slow, steady, always matching mine. I stopped. The footsteps stopped. I turned around. Nobody. Just an empty street. I told myself if it was an echo, so I kept walking. Tap, tap, tap. The footsteps returned, closer this time.
The woman.
As I reached the next intersection, I saw her. She stood perfectly still beneath a streetlight. She wore a long beige coat, black gloves, long black hair covered part of her face, and over her mouth, a white surgical mask. That wasn't unusual. Many people wear masks in Japan, but something about her felt wrong. She wasn't moving, not even slightly. Then, she looked directly at me and smiled. I couldn't see her mouth, but somehow I knew she was smiling. She began walking toward me, slowly, without making a sound. When she stopped only a few feet away, she tilted her head. Then she asked, "Watashi kirei? Am I beautiful?" Her voice was calm, almost gentle. I smiled politely. Yes. For a moment, Everything became silent. Then she reached behind her ears and removed her mask. I wish I had looked away. From one side of her face to the other, her mouth had been sliced open. The cut stretched almost to her ears. Blood stained the corners of her smile. Then she asked again, "What about now?"
The chase.
Every story I'd heard as a child came rushing back. People said there was no correct answer. If you said no, she would kill you. If you said yes, she would make you look just like her. My heart pounded so loudly I could barely think. I remembered one version of the legend. Someone had survived by answering, "So-so, not beautiful, not ugly, just average." I forced the words out. "You're average." For the first time, she looked confused, only for a second. But that second was enough. I turned and ran. Behind me, I heard laughter. Not loud, not angry, almost amused. The footsteps followed, no matter how fast I ran. They never got closer. They never got farther away. Always right behind me. I darted into a narrow alley. Empty. I climbed a staircase. Empty. I crossed another street. Empty. But every time I stopped, there she was, standing beneath another streetlight, waiting, smiling, as if she had always been there before I arrived.
The final encounter.
Eventually, I found a small shrine hidden beneath two buildings. Its lantern was still lit. I rushed inside the gate. The footsteps stopped. I turned around. She stood just outside the entrance. She didn't move. She only stared. The wind grew stronger. The shrine bells rang on their own. Then, without saying a word, she slowly placed her mask back over her face, turned around, and disappeared into the darkness. I stayed there until sunrise. When I finally gathered the courage to leave, the streets looked completely normal. Cars filled the roads. People hurried to work. It was as if nothing had happened. Years have passed. I've never seen her again. But sometimes, late at night, when the streets become quiet, I still hear footsteps matching my own. And every once in a while, I'll notice someone standing beneath a distant streetlight. A woman, long black hair, a white surgical mask, not moving, just waiting. Maybe it's only my imagination. Or maybe she's waiting for someone else to answer her question. If a stranger ever stops you on a lonely street and asks, "Am I beautiful?" think carefully before you answer, because some legends never really disappear.